Hi there, it's Linda here. Thanks so much for joining me today as I create another mermaid sign or card for my prep students. I'm using the new MFT Mermaid for each other set again today, and last time I used it was very clean and simple. This time creating a lot more layers. So the first layer is some ink blending with my beloved Distress inks, and I've used chipped Sapphire down first on the right there of the card front, then Blueprint Sketch. Now I'm onto the Broken China, and here I go now, just starting with the Tumbled Glass. Tumbled Glass is such a light colour, it does take me quite a while to build up layers of colour there, so I do cut the blending a bit shorter for you here so that I can come back when it's starting to actually show some of the colour. Now the oils on my fingers took off some of just the side of my hand where it was touching on the inked piece there, took off some of the colour, so I'm just trying to fix that up a little bit. I don't think it'll be too noticeable with my stenciling over the top. So just using some removable adhesive to attach that down to my glass mat, and then using this beautiful waves stencil from Mudra and my beloved Nuvo Moonstone Glimmer paste. This is the new one already. I'll get it all organised because I've only got a little bit left in my original jar. Well, it's not my original jar, it's probably my second or third jar by now. I do love this stuff, and I'm very glad I had another container all ready to go. Sometimes it's hard to get it. It's really quite a tricky one sometimes in Australia for us to track it down. So here I go, spreading it all over the beautiful wave stencil with my palette knife. And it does dry fairly quickly, so you do need to get it up and wipe off your stencil wash it off as quickly as you can. I also like to lift up my card front and wipe around the edge while it's still wet, because that's much harder to get those bits off once it all dries. So I have stamped the little mermaids, 2 of them from the set, and all the little other images that you get, the crab and fish and so on. I've stamped them all with some Memento Tuxedo Black, which I love to use for Copic colouring. And I will list all the Copics that I used today, giving this little mermaid a little bit of a lighter skin colour. The one on the right I go a little bit darker, so just to mix it up a little bit. And very easy to Copic colour, they're so small, which is really quite delightful because the colouring is over and done with pretty quickly. I'll show you all the colouring on their faces, and then I'll show you all the colouring on their hair, and I will colour all of the mermaid on the right, but I don't go into the details of the mermaid on the left. Similar sort of colouring techniques, just with different colours. So really just pick your favourite colours, or pick whatever works in well with your background colours, and you'll be good to go with these little girls. They're so sweet. So I've heard that the preppies who I'm working with at the moment are very fond of mermaids and dinosaurs, so I did a little bit of crafty shopping, got myself some mermaids and dinosaurs because I didn't have any. And it was a good excuse, wasn't it, to go and buy a few new things that I can play with. So I've got some dinosaurs ready to go there on my next card. So having lots of fun. These little signs go up for the students to choose from when they get ticks on the reward chart, and they are all working very hard to be able to choose one of these as their final reward. So colouring in all her little bits of skin here, using the same colours that I used for the face, and I've listed all those up above. So tiny little bits of colouring is all you'll be doing really. It's pretty simple. Now the hair for this one, I sort of was going for something a little bit orangey blonde. I come back and forth a bit because it really got a bit too light and I wanted it to have a little bit more depth, but using the YR colours, I don't have a lot of variety when it comes to options for my hair colours really, but you know, make the most of what I've got. I think I've got about 80 Copic colours, and pretty much that gets me through being able to find something I like. every time I use them. So going around her hair here, it's up to you whether or not you go around each little curl really, or if you just let the colour sit in the thicker strands, but it's personal choice, really up to you how you go about that. Adding a bit more colour there to just the top of her head and to the top of her ponytail, and then blending it out, and then I add a little bit more colour to those little strands that are little wisps around her sweet little face. Now my favourite colour family, the BGs, also a good group or trio from here in Australia, the BGs. A little bit before my time, but I do enjoy listening to some of their music. There's a few songs that I particularly like, Staying Alive and so on and so forth. Brings back a few memories with John Travolta and the movie. But anyway, I'm being terribly sidetracked here. The BGs, my favourite Copic colours. Just getting some darker colours or a bit of a darker hue in there with the BG 15 and then 13. And blending that out with BG 11. The first base colour I put down was BG 10. I do come back in with the darker colours because I feel like I need a little bit more emphasis after coming back with the lighter colour there. So I add a bit more dark, a bit more depth underneath her hairline there. Blend that out a bit with the BG 13, which is also quite dark compared to the 11 and the 10, and then using the lighter colours to finish off around those wispy little curls. She's a sweet little one, this one, isn't she? She's got a head full of hair, I tell you. But she's very cute. I think the girls will love these. So, looking at that, I do come back with, because I tend to go over the whole lot here and blend it, and then I come back in with the darker BGs just to get a little bit more depth at the top there on some strands. So I like the look of that. Happy with that. A bit more down there under her hairline, and then I can move on to her little mermaid tail and body. And I always love the look of pinks or the RVs with the BGs, so that's what I've gone to. Keeping it fairly soft and subtle, nothing too bold and bright on these little beauties, just nice and soft, delicate colours for them. So I'll let you enjoy the Copic colouring now and a little bit of music, and I'll be back when it's time for the fussy cutting. There you see all my little pieces are coloured, just in colours that are going to coordinate well with my ink blended background there. And now fussy cutting, I don't have anything, any fancy scissors or anything like that for my fussy cutting, just a cheap pair, a small pair so you can get into little spots, and I just move the paper in my left hand and just hold the scissors in the right, and I get through it fairly quickly. So I've used one of the Lawn Fawn hillside borders because I just wanted a bit more detail at the bottom there for my shells to tuck under, so a little bit of a beachy or sandy bottom. And I'm adding some details just like the stamp set had on a little bit of sandy, a little stamp that's in the stamp set. That gave me the idea. And then I've used the sentiment from another Mermaid set. It's a uniquely creative set and it says "You're Mermazing." I'm adding that at the top with some foam tape, and my sign is complete, and it does look so pretty with all that beautiful glisten and sparkle. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my craft, and I'll be back with more soon.